Hello, everyone. My name is Corey Coombs, and I'm an undergraduate student at Texas State University. The purpose of this video today is to give you a brief explanation and a whole organization intervention known as scenario planning. So, for today's video, we will be going through the definition and purpose, what even is scenario planning, key components and features of scenario planning that need to be considered, the strengths and weaknesses that even go into utilizing this process, real world application, because why would we want to learn about it if we won't be able to apply it? And most importantly, our references citing where we got this great information from. So, what is scenario planning and why do we need it? Well, a great definition I found is scenario planning is positing several informed, plausible, and imagined alternative environments in which decisions about the future may be played out to change current thinking, improving decision making, enhancing human and organizational learning, and improving performance. Question mark and Payne 2005. So what does this mean? Well, this is done at the organizational level. Though the definition itself is long, the concept is not as difficult. Business need a plan for new events, as well as changes, before these changes occur to make informed decisions while the change is occurring, and do this efficiently if the scenario were to arise. So essentially, now that we know what scenario planning is, why is it important? All this goes to is preparation and improved learning. Businesses are now able to deal with multiple scenarios that they're not currently facing and have a plan for them. This, in turn, aids decision making so that when it actually is time, that one of these scenarios are planned out, individuals will be like, hey, I remember when we had this scenario planning team put together this document to better prepare us for this situation. It also promotes strategic renewal. This is key because as time goes on, businesses need to change. Otherwise, they will not be able to keep up with the glowing demands in the global market, as well as any conflicts that are arising. So now that we know what the actual definition of scenario planning is, as well as its purpose within organizations, it's important to discuss what are key features that make scenario planning scenario planning. Well, typically it has four major steps. The title slide had 5 steps. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with having 5 steps. But typically it's 4 steps, right? So the first step is going to be getting started, right? So it's going to be creation of a team, and these individuals are going to be it's going to be about 12 people coming together with open minds, trying to solve and create scenarios that'll better help the organization in the future. The next step will be laying the foundation. During this phase, they'll be gathering quantitative data for scenarios, as well as qualitative data from how employees view the future of the company. This is being to be part of the data gathering stage, just to lay out before they even create scenarios, essentially where they're at and what could potentially happen. Next, we're going to actually go into creating scenarios. In order to have a great scenario, there needs to be at minimum 7 key characteristics. There needs to be decision-making power, plausibility, alternatives, consistency, differentiation, and memorability, as well as challenge, right? So all these come together to ensure that not all the scenarios are the same, they have different outcomes, that they're actual real, they're plausible, as well as that they are challenging scenarios where if they were to come, it could make or break a corporation. After creating these scenarios, there is going to be the developing a decision. So they're going to move from scenarios to a decision. The group is going to have to decide how the organization should respond to a scenario based off the data in the presented scenarios if the scenario should ever occur. The key part of this is organizers should be answering what would happen if, right? That is the key part. What would happen if? As you can see on this slide, the strengths outweigh the weaknesses by a little bit. Some of the strengths of scenario planning and why organizations should undertake this practice is that they do have a better understanding of what could possibly happen. This is more of a if you're prepared for anything, you don't have to worry about anything. This leads to the whole organization being prepared, the finance department, HR. If another pandemic breaks out or anything similar to this, what we see in the past few years, organizations do not have to worry that they are without a plan. As well as because of all this preparation and time, there are documents to help and to follow if anything were to go on. So these leading experts on a panel that you discuss the scenarios and possible alternatives, if something were to happen to these individuals, the organization does not have to worry about what is going to happen if they can't find them. Some of the weaknesses are that it does take a lot of effort and can take months to come up with scenarios and plausible solutions, as well as it is a living process. If new information is shared, the scenario changes completely. So most importantly, how are you able to use this in the real world? Why care about scenario planning? So in this slide, I've created a possible scenario. You can go ahead and take the time to read it. As you're reading it, I want you to remember the stages and features of scenario planning. All right, so you're getting started. You're laying the foundation. Well, in this scenario, we're going to say that you've already have a team together and they've already conducted research. Well, some possible scenarios would be, what if, in current events, there's a worldwide war that breaks out? How's that going to affect your business? How are you going to keep it running? Once again, going back to the real world, what if the change in the dominant currency is no longer the US dollar? How is it going to affect your corporation, especially if it's spread across different regions? Or more importantly, what if countries start changing laws saying that gasoline vehicles are no longer authorized after a certain point? These are all possible scenarios that your company might need to undertake, and then have to work towards developing a decision towards each one of these scenarios. That way, just in case if they were to occur, they would know how to handle it and hopefully give them a competitive edge and efficiency going into that scenario. If you made it this far, thank you for watching the video. Hopefully learn a little bit about scenario planning, what it is, why it's important, some pros and cons if you're ever thinking about applying it to your own corporation or business, and a little bit of real world application to show you that it's not that far-fetched. You might do it without even knowing. Here I've listed some references. Feel free to take a deeper dive. I know this is a short video. Once again, thank you for listening.